Another day, another tactics extravaganza. This time we're at 1400 level puzzles. Um, I know last time, my puzzle rating was miraculously 1300 on the dot. I was a little bit less professional. Excuse my 8 points above. It's easier said than done getting to an exact 0-0 rating. Let's get into it. Alright, so first one we're getting is actually just a maiden one. You might be tempted by something about this knight, but actually there's no way to win it, and more importantly, there's something much better. It's similar to like Scholar's Mate theme, right? Where you just have a queen that's defended by some piece. In that case, the knight. And you're hitting this weak spot on F2, right? You may already know this, but the weakest square from the beginning is this F2 or F7 point. Because the only piece that defends it from the start is the king. And that's not a great defender. The more valuable the piece is, the worse it is as a defender. Because you wouldn't want to lose that piece by capturing. And of course, with the king, you can't even choose to do that. It's always something to think about. So you can learn a bit of strategy too from these. I'll have to focus on those. Alright, we have another checkmate. You may have noticed, if you did the initial assessment, that, well, both kings are in a bit of a rough shape. Especially your opponents, luckily, and it is your turn. So we actually have the queen and bishop taking away all of the king's squares at the moment. So how do we actually checkmate it? Well, we have some diagonal pieces. It would be nice if we could get our light square bishop here. We can't. Our own king is in the way. But instead we can get our queen here, right? And you may think, well, you're moving it away from something important. But even here, we're covering this square. So yeah, the bishop and queen together cover it all. I think any 1400 could do this easily. Yeah, I suppose the tactics rating is a bit inflated. A bit. Or a lot. Alright, next one. Okay, another maiden one. Honestly, I think this one's even easier. It's hard to go wrong on this one. You see the king here. I mean, even if you're thinking about this pawn, right, defended by the bishop, like, it's a move you would think of even if you're not getting a checkmate, right? The king is immobile. Just here and... Oh, it wasn't a checkmate. I misspoke. I didn't see the bishop there. So yeah, I was so used to the maiden ones, I was like, oh, I bet this is a maiden one. Well, this is proof that even if you're really a 1400 or just a really bad whatever my rating is, you can still get this right. See, I was like, maiden one. Oh, okay, maybe my excuse is I didn't see the bishop took this pawn. I thought, the bishop can't even block. But my point, actually, this helps my point. It's really more about this passed pawn. We deflect the king a bit, and now we have two nice passed pawns. Try to promote this one, and if the king goes here, we can promote either pawn, and the other one we'll get to promote without the king taking it. Yeah, sorry, not a maiden one. I'll be more careful about throwing that word around. How long would it take to checkmate from here? I suppose it's not so far away. Just for fun, let's calculate. King d2, and if c1 queen, king takes, this queen is mate. So actually checkmate very close. What if king here, promote, and then white ignores it. Let's say takes this pawn. I guess we're not that close, but hey, we have an extra queen. Alright, one more. Or is it two more? I can't keep track anymore. Alright. This is weak, so is this. Loose rook. And this is just one of those cases where, well, black's king is a bit more airy, and our queen and bishop can actually do much more than the queen and rook. So one thing you'll often see when you have this queen and bishop combination is that they'll work together on the same diagonal. Let's say we had the bishop here, the queen here. Of course, there's ideas with this battery. But another important idea, this bishop pair is very strong, yes? Well, a queen is like a rook and a bishop combined, right? So another strategy is when you get your queen on the opposite color square of the bishop, it's able to kind of compensate for what the bishop cannot do. And we don't want to take the rook now because that allows a draw with the queen taking here. So we do this with check. And only now, after the king is moved. Okay, we have no mate. All right, let's just go grab this rook. And that's it. Yeah, so there's no perpetual. If check, we just go here. One more check, and we would just block that with the bishop. No more checks for you. We're up a bishop. Was that the last one? Let's see. Oh, we get one more. Great. All right, this is kind of combining idea of winning material with some checkmating patterns. So if you know about smothered mate with that knight, we don't have a knight, but you know, if let's pretend this queen were a pawn, you know, you get a knight here. Oh, the king's stuck in its own corner by its own pieces. Almost similar, but of course the knight's the only one that can really do checkmate that way. But actually, if we get our bishop here, black will need to block this check with a piece. So what's happening is if we take this rook, and then we get this check in, yeah, if the rook had blocked, thanks to this one here, we get mate. Well, the bishop blocks and we take that. Black's rook would not be able to go back because of this pin. So that's why the queen blocked. And we're just winning material because we gave up our queen for a rook back here, but now we are getting it at the price of only a bishop. All right. Now that we have that through, sorry, one of them was pretty rough. Said mate in 1, it was like mate in 15. Let's make up for it by having a legendary run on Puzzle Rush. And as always, I'm gonna make the board a tad smaller so I can slide around on at a stunning speed. All right, had that one ready. Okay, let's go through the. Oh, we're winning a knight, not a mate in 1. I'm always going to be careful before I announce a checkmate. It's even more embarrassing when you're playing a game and you're like playing a move and you say checkmate, or you're just like, hey, you know, offer your hand, and it's like, what? It's not even checkmate. Of course, probably happens more to newer players, but I do have a story about that when I was perhaps. Wait, what's happening? Okay. When I was like 1800 over the board, I had a game against someone who was about 1600 rated, and I was just crushing out at the opening. I think it was a Benoni, or I was playing white against a Benoni. Never a good idea to play the Benoni. No matter what level you are, please don't play the Benoni for your own sake. And somehow I was even attacking the king. Right? I mean, usually when you play the Benoni, you get positionally lost. This time I was somehow attacking, and oops. Okay. Not too focused on that. I thought I saw this cool mate in 2, and I played the first move of it, and then after my opponent's move, like I didn't even miss my opponent's move, he played right into it, and I was about to make the next move when I realized that's not checkmate. So I panicked because I believe I did sacrifice a bit of material to do that, to do something that turned out not to be checkmate. But I found another move. I think I was still okay. I didn't need to panic so much. Alright, second story, much more serious. Right, that was when I was 1800 or so. Next what happened was, over the summer, right, so I'm like 2100 rated. I was playing against an IM, International Master, for the first time in a while. Like, I really hadn't faced one in years, probably. And I got an advantage out of the opening. I was playing white. I was against the semi-Slav. I was like boom, boom, boom. Somehow got a huge space advantage. Was crushing. And then, oh, okay, not doing so well today. But yeah, story time. I was beating an IM, and I thought I had a maiden one, so I picked up a knight that I was going to move to do the maiden one. This was near move 40. Okay, hold on. I need to pause and actually get this one. I'm not seeing the answer. What is it? Oh, threat there. Okay. So it was one of those time controls where on the 40th move, you gain extra time. And this was around move 38, 39. I thought I had this awesome checkmate with the knight. So I picked up my knight. I was about to move it to where I thought it was checkmate. Then I realized just it can get taken. So instead of checkmating, I would be losing a knight. So I panicked and blocked that move out of my mind. And it's touch move, of course. So I still had to move my knight. It was ridiculous. Oh, speaking of ridiculous. Sorry, okay, I was caught up in story time. But anyway, what happened was, it turned out that if I had actually moved that knight to the place where I thought it was checkmate, I would have had checkmate in a few moves anyway, right after that. So I should have actually just played that move, but instead, I did some ridiculous thing, and it could have gotten messy, but luckily, I managed to win anyway. My first IM victory. Yeah, here it is, just to show you. Where was it? Yeah, so obviously, one glance at the position, I'm the one attacking. I should be mating soon. Yeah, I even did this, pawn sack. There we go. Forcing the king to take on d6 because, puzzle rush. Oh, wait. Well, puzzle rush. If the king goes there, boom. Boom. And that's mate. Anyway, king took. This I had calculated. Oh, and it turns out it was actually already move 40. I thought I was about to lose on time, but I should have just glanced. I was even writing on the notation sheet. If I just looked, what number move is it? Oh, I have time. Oh, yes, it was the bishop. Okay, I thought, well, knight c6 is checkmate. I had the knight picked up. I even, hovered it over the square, and I'm like, there's a bishop there. But here's what's funny. Okay, and I actually did slow down here. If I play knight c6, bishop takes c6, I can just proceed with queen c5. Right, and if king d7, I have rook d1. Oh no, sorry, not rook d. Oh, my queen's here. Oh yeah. I need to work on my tactics apparently. Someone should have told me. Knight c6, king d7. Oh, sorry, knight c6, bishop takes c6, queen c5, king d7. I can just go ahead and take that bishop. And then king d6 back, queen c5, king d7, rook d1. There's like a 0% chance you could follow all of that. Mostly because my arrows were messy. Actually, that's the only reason. But you get the point. Knight c6 you can work out on your own is actually a very quick win. Of course, if I hadn't already picked up my knight, queen c5 is just winning in a couple moves. Just the same thing, but without throwing my knight in there. But I overthought it. I blocked that out of my mind. And I played this move. I went out of my way to find a knight move that isn't knight c6. And it turns out, okay, if queen takes g6, which is what I was expecting, I am much better with a queen versus rook and bishop imbalance, but it's not trivial, and I'm honestly not sure, about my abilities in such positions, but I think my opponent, he saw the checkmate coming. He just had it at this point. We already met time control, so he just went here. And after this check, he played king f7, and then queen f8 was checkmate. So at least there was a happy ending to the story. But why did I get telling that? Yeah, if you recall, I started telling that story because in one of those puzzles I thought it was a mate in one. Turns out it was not. So, I mean, really, I think the lesson is to do whatever do whatever you need to do to calm down a bit, especially when things are getting tense. You know, do some sighs, like that'll calm you down. No, if nothing else does. I should have done more of that because I just panicked, and even though I was thinking all about the right moves, you know, the brain just doesn't work well when you're in a panicked state. So I hope you learned a lot of tactics and about how to conduct yourself during a tense game. Hope you enjoyed that story time while I was scoring poorly on Puzzle Rush. Either I need to stop talking about random things while doing Puzzle Rush, or I need to get better at talking while doing Puzzle Rush. And I'll see you in the next one.